All right, guys, I've tried to record this post-game video like 15 times now. I actually turned on the webcam with like 5 minutes left. I was going to just go ahead and crank it out. But ESPN's stupid auto video player thing keeps starting on its own, and there's no way to like stop it or turn it off or block it that I've been able to find. And I lose my train of thought, so I start over. So that actually pisses me off. That this game, no. This game did not piss me off. I never felt any real emotion about this one. At about halftime of this one, a little before halftime, I had already kind of decided to remove myself emotionally from this game. And I'm not going to let the complete lack of competency from this organization right now ruin my Thanksgiving. And if you are a Seahawks fan and you watch that game tonight and you're disgusted with the disgusting product, disgusted with the disgusting product, um, don't let it ruin your Thanksgiving. That's what I can say, right? Um, Eat some good food. By the time you're watching this video, you probably ate all the good food, but don't let your game be defined by the garbage that the Seahawks just produced. That's what I can say about that. So, anyway, Seahawks lose 31-13. And that final score doesn't seem that bad, right? Like, there are going to be people out there. There are going to be people associated with this team. There are going to be hype men. There are going to be cheerleaders. There are going to be people who suck up to this organization, who try to convince you that tonight's game wasn't that bad, and they're gonna like point to the final score and they're gonna be like, see, it was only 3 scores and the refs missed the PI on JSN in the end zone. If they call that, that completely changes the game. We might win. That was maybe like a 10 or 14 point swing, and da da da. They're gonna try to trick you. So if you are a Seahawks fan, by all means, do not let this game ruin your day, because this should be a good day independent of the Seahawks doing anything to make it good or bad. But don't forget how you feel right now about this game, because I'm not angry, but I'm disgusted with the product right now. And in the coming couple days, when people try to convince you that it wasn't that bad and it was actually pretty close and we put up a good fight, just remember this feeling of general disgust that you probably have right now associated with the Seahawks. You know, that feeling that you never want to watch them again and you never want to give the organization any more money. Just remember that feeling. So, I'm not really going to spend too much time talking about the game itself because there's so little to even. This is one of those games where talking about this game in detail is like trying to talk about a hurricane scientifically right after the hurricane destroys your house. Who cares? I don't care about the climate. I don't care about the scientific phenomenon that creates the hurricane. I don't care about where this hurricane came from. I don't care about the path it's taking. I only care that it destroyed my house. And you or anybody trying to describe the scientific phenomenon that created the hurricane is somebody who just needs to get punched in the face. So, straight up, there are very few players on the Seahawks in this game who played well. Like, I think I could almost count it on one hand. We could get really close. Eskridge played good. Witherspoon played good. Leonard Williams played good. I think Jamal Adams played good. Maybe Jordan Brooks. I think Charbonnet did what he could. I don't know if he played good, but I don't think he left it much out there. I know he made some mistakes, but he's a rookie. He did what he could when there was something to get. And there's probably one or two other guys that you could single out if you really wanted to. But that was such an uninspiring performance. We got like 10 minutes of competence in that third quarter. For about 10 minutes there, we looked like a real NFL team. And those 10 minutes are going to be something that people try to cling on to and say, hey, we can still compete with the big boys. We can still be a really good team this year. We can be this. We can be. And don't forget about the other 50 minutes, is what I'm going to say. I know it hurts. I know you'd much rather think about those 10 minutes than the other 50 minutes. But those other 50 minutes were about as disgusting and uninspiring as anything. The offense basically did nothing the whole game. They put together a few half decent drives, but they couldn't finish them. Third down offense was atrocious. The offensive line immediately collapses on every third down. We had a little bit of success running the ball, so of course we keep going away from it. Although a big reason why you do that is because you don't have the ball enough to really commit to the run because your third down offense is so bad. Gino, he didn't look like he was playing super injured or anything like that. So I guess at least we can say that it wasn't a situation where he shouldn't have been out there and we forced him. But he didn't play particularly well either. He missed a couple opportunities. I do like that he used his legs a little bit, but overall, game to forget for him. Metcalf, bleh. Like, that was a very weird game for Metcalf. He had the drop. He had some focus issues, not getting his feet down in bounds. He had the one play where he had a big play down the sideline, but he jumped when he didn't need to, so he landed out of bounds. That was probably, in fact, I don't even want to say probably, that was almost definitely Metcalf's worst game of the season. Defensively, I mean, there were some good moments, I guess. I thought we got a little bit of pressure on Purdy, but um, they, they just soft zone, soft zone, soft zone. There was one play in the second quarter where it was 3rd and 6 in or around the red zone, and we dropped into soft zone and basically gave them a free first down. And I'm just watching the TV screen trying to understand what the logic is of telling all your players to start sprinting towards the end zone on 3rd and 6. Like Purdy's gonna throw it 70 yards and beat you deep when they're already almost in the red zone. Like there isn't that much field back there to protect, and it's 3rd and 6 anyway. You know what they're gonna try to do. Couldn't really stop the run that well. Some of the rushing yards came at the end of the game when the defense was completely gassed. I understand that, but most of their points came early. They scored most of their points in the first half, so this to me isn't even really an instance of, oh, they were tired. Like at the end of the game, there was a little bit of that, but most of their scoring was done well before the team got tired. So I'm not really hearing that this week. A lot of plays where receivers are running wide open. It does seems like everything's just so easy for this Niners offense against us. Um, Jordan Brooks makes a nice little play. I mean, realistically, he caught a batted ball that floated into his hands and then ran 10 yards for a touchdown. Like it's not in context, it's not as great as it sounds, but it's a cool play for him, and I do think that Jordan Brooks played pretty well overall. He's one of the guys that I'm not particularly upset at, but um just just not good. And I that's really all well, okay, special teams. We miss another field goal, so Jason Myers has already pretty much locked up a bad season. He's missed 6 field goals after signing that monster contract. I'm already like there's not much he can do to save this season at this point for him. 6 missed field goals for a kicker making the kind of money that he's making is not something I'm okay with. Um, we fumbled a punt, and we had a couple of Niners punts get pinned inside like the 3 yard line. So I mean that's more to the Niners being really good than us being really bad. I know, but it's still ugly. And that's really all I care to say about this game in terms of like the X's and O's. I usually go on a little bit longer, but I want to talk about some big picture stuff here because the end result of this game doesn't really matter in comparison to what we should have learned from this game. And I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. This needs to be a lesson to those out there who still truly, really honestly believe that Pete Carroll is some kind of elite coach. I don't know how many are left, but I know there are some of them out there. And I kind of tried to do it. This last year and a half, I've kind of tried to play along here because last year went pretty well, and the team seemed like they were headed in the right direction in terms of at least roster building, and there were some positive signs last year. I was encouraged by some stuff, but I can't even do that anymore. I can't even passively get behind this. Pete, you're done. And I'm done trying to play nice with him. I'm done trying to gird everything that I say. I'm done trying to mince my words here. Bottom line is, I don't see this ever working to the degree that we want it to work with him. So we're back on that stuff. If you guys remember, 2019, mid-season, I saw some things from Pete that I really didn't like, and I started to really wonder, do we need to go in a different direction here? Is this not going to work going forward? And over the next couple years, I was really like, I don't think this Pete thing is working. And then 2021, of course, we had that incredibly disappointing season, and I really kind of got on the Pete needs to go wagon. But then he won the power struggle with Russell and the organization, and it was like, okay, we got to go with this for a little bit here, and I guess I got to just make my peace with that. But no, there's going to be no peace being made anymore, because this game really highlights my big fear. Because let me be very clear, I am not upset that this Seahawks team is not a Super Bowl caliber team. I'm not. I don't believe that this roster is ready to really contend for a Super Bowl. I don't. I think that this roster is good. I think it's better than the results we're getting right now. But I do not think these Seahawks are ready to win a Super Bowl in terms of the roster. They have a lot of talent, but a lot of that talent is young and inexperienced and not ready yet. So this is not me saying, oh, we're not going to win the Super Bowl, I hate Pete. I understand the process that you have to go through when you go through a rebuild. When you trade your franchise quarterback like we did a year and a half ago, when you decide to rebuild around draft picks, when you decide to rebuild around really young players, rookies and sophomores, there's going to be a little bit of a window where you don't have realistic Super Bowl aspirations. So I'm not sitting here saying, I want this team to win the Super Bowl right now. They're not going to win the Super Bowl, therefore I want everybody fired. That's not how I'm doing this. But I look at the processes that this team utilizes. I look at the way they do things. And here's the bottom line to me. I do not believe that Pete Carroll is good enough to guide this team to the top when that roster gets here. And I believe that roster is close. I believe we are maybe one off season away from getting a Super Bowl caliber roster, a roster that is one of the best in the NFL. I think we got to improve our interior offensive line. Maybe we got to get a better quarterback. I don't know. Maybe we got to improve a little bit in terms of defensive line depth. Maybe get probably next year a little bit younger at safety and inside linebacker. But we're close. We are close. And when I watch a game like this, in tandem with some of the other games I've seen this year, it's just so obvious to me that when that roster comes, Pete is going to drag them down. They are going to underachieve and not get to where we want to go because of Pete. Another game. This game, you're playing Brock Purdy, you're playing the 49ers. You know what they're going to do. You know their quarterback is going to try to beat you underneath with short and intermediate throws. You know he doesn't have a big arm. You know you need to play aggressively. You know you need to challenge 49ers receivers at the line of scrimmage. You know that you need to play man defense and hope you can win those battles. And if you don't, then you'll lose. But that's better than playing zone, especially a soft zone, a simple zone, and guaranteeing you're going to get beat. And for most of that game, that's what we sat in, especially that first half when they were killing us. Maybe you could say there were one or two adjustments we made in that second half, but I think that our improved play in that second half had more to do with the Niners messing up than the Seahawks doing anything right. So the process is wrong. And that is what I'm really latching onto. Because going into this game, I do want to say this because I'm a big fan of trying to give credit where credit is due. Going into this game, I actually had a little bit of optimism, like right before the game started, because I saw the inactive list and Frank Clark was on it. And I thought to myself, okay, we're doing things the right way in this area. I can at least say the process is good here. The process is good. Frank Clark plays 31, 32 snaps against the Rams on Sunday. So you know he has nothing left for Thursday. He probably has nothing left in general. But you know when you play him that much on Sunday, you're not going to get anything from him on Thursday. So you just put him on ice. That was great. And I know that seems like a very minor thing, and it is. But I saw that and I was like, okay, I can get behind that. I'm cool with that. I'm happy about that. We actually did something that makes a lot of sense. So good job, coaching staff. Good job, Peter. But then the team gets out there and you see the process start to break down. You see them, like I said, soft zone over and over and over again, giving yourself no real chance to be in this game. Maybe if you play aggressively on defense, maybe if you play man defense, maybe it would have been a little bit worse, but this isn't college football. Like, worse doesn't really matter. Either you win or you lose in the NFL. And we still got blown out. Like, this wasn't a close game that came down to the last couple minutes. This is still a blowout. I don't care if you get blown out by a little bit more because you actually tried to do something differently. So, there's that. And then there was one other thing that happened in this game that I do want to single out as, I think, a positive sign. Rico Willen gets benched, and I know some people are going to disagree with me on this. Some people aren't going to like that I say this, but I liked it. Willen blew a couple easy tackle opportunities, showed bad technique, bad form. I think there was one play where he punched Trey Brown or pushed Trey Brown or something out of the play so he couldn't make the tackle. And Peter was like, enough, out, you're done. You're done. I don't care how good you are in coverage. Shanahan is going to see that you can't tackle, and he's going to exploit it over and over again in this game. So you're on the bench. So I actually liked that. That is something that you usually, I feel like, do not see from Carroll. You usually don't see it from this team. Accountability. You can't tackle. The Niners are going to take advantage, so you don't get to play until you start tackling at least an average level. So I actually liked that. That was something that I wasn't expecting, and I support holding players accountable. Now, I know what some people are going to say. Some people are going to say, well, if you're going to bench Willen from this game because he didn't tackle, there are about 20 other players on this team you should bench. And yeah, sure, there's probably some truth to that. You can't bench everybody, though. Obviously, you've only got so many players. But I did like that. And then you get back to the game. Okay, so Willen's out. You've got Mike Jackson in. The results are not awful. Like, it's not like we gave up 350 or 400 passing yards. It's not like Brock Purdy put up 6 touchdown passes on us. He had a normal, decent-ish Brock Purdy game. He was just kind of okay, kind of effective, kind of good, not great. So I guess that ended up being the right decision, right? Because you didn't lose much without Willen out there. So yeah, good process. But then you see all the bad process. How many of our passing plays are out routes? How many of our passing plays go outside the numbers? Like, there's so little going on in this offense over the middle. And when we do go over the middle, it seems like good things are happening. Like, we hit a 20-yarder to Disley over the middle. We converted a 3rd and 17 on a throw to, I think, Noah Fant over the middle. There were a couple other plays over the middle that I actually thought were pretty good. And you see that these plays work. And these plays are a huge part of the offense you're trying to run. And then it just seems like there's somebody in the background that is pulling back on those plays and being like, no, we can't run too many of those because I don't like those plays for reasons. So you see the process break down. That is what I want people to come away from this post-game video with. It's not just the results, okay? The results should probably be a little better than they are. We should be better than 6-5. We are better in terms of our roster and talent than a 6-5 team. Period. I firmly believe that. But bigger than that, the process stinks. And Pete Carroll, a year and a half ago, a little more than that now, at the combine, got up in front of everybody and promised he was going to change. He had gotten arrogant and cocky, and he had learned his lesson because we had a bad year in 2021. He was going to do things differently. He had learned his lesson. That's not what you're showing right now, buddy. Not even close. This is going to be another year where we have a below average defense. The offense isn't going to bail you out the way it did last year. And it looks like we're going to go backwards. So, yeah. I'm not going to even let the final score fool me to the degree that it's going to try to. Going forward, we're going to start looking at things through a very different lens on this channel. So, it's back on the menu, guys. Fire Pete Carroll. See you guys later. Go Hawks. More tomorrow. Going to stream later. But, yeah. I just really wanted to emphasize that. I really need to make my concerns and problems with this team clear. This is not from a place of me thinking this team is Super Bowl or bust. This is me thinking a couple years from now, maybe even next year, I think we're going to have an awesome roster that can win it all. And I want to have a coach in place that can actually execute on the winning it all part. And right now, everything Pete is showing me says he's not it. All right, stream later. Sorry for the lack of positivity here, but there's not much to be positive about right now. This sucks. You're playing Thanksgiving Day, national TV, primetime Thursday night football. Whole country's watching. Whole country's glued to their TV after eating their Thanksgiving dinner or maybe during their Thanksgiving dinner. And it's 24-3 at halftime. And you put together 10 competent minutes. And I know you're going to try to cling to that going forward, but I'm not falling for it. Neither should you. All right. See you later.